confusion, or blueness of the lips or face, these may be signs of serious illness. Call 911. For more information and the latest resources, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19 or call 1-800-CDC-INFO. That's 1-800-232-4636.
The COVID-19 outbreak is affecting us all. This includes our emergency responders. We need your help to help us. This means using your best judgment when considering calling for an ambulance. Consider if your situation is truly an emergency. Is what you're facing a life-threatening situation? Some examples of this would include cardiac arrest, suspected stroke, a traumatic injury, difficulty breathing. If so, contact 911. If not, carefully consider your next steps. Ask yourself, do you have other means of transportation? Or perhaps, could this situation be handled at an urgent care facility? Remember, if you are showing symptoms of COVID-19, call your primary care physician or PCP. It's crucial that when calling 911 to report an emergency, you let us know all of your signs and symptoms. This way, first responders can take necessary precautions to protect themselves. If first responders become ill themselves, they cannot help their community. Calling for an ambulance is not just simply calling for a ride to a medical facility. For every ambulance call, it takes about an hour to treat and transport a patient and properly decontaminate the ambulance. If your situation is not life-threatening, the ambulance would be tied up and unavailable for someone whose situation may be a matter of life and death. Information about COVID-19 can be found at nh.gov/COVID-19. Follow guidelines put out by the Centers for Disease Control. Remember, practice good hygiene habits and social distancing. Treat symptoms at home and self-monitor. If a sick person's condition becomes life-threatening, then call 911. Emergency responders will always be there for the residents of New Hampshire. With this pandemic, responders
to me ahead of time with that.
Yeah. I have some more things that he didn't find. On the first and the third paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4. Have you got it? He said that Jennifer might have some helpful tips for Maura. John said if she's able to pull this off, she will be the first one in New Hampshire. No, this will be, not she. We're talking about the commission here. So this will be your...
What line is that on?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the third paragraph. You got that?
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have the numbered, your minutes numbered?
No, I don't.
Ah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
And, well, anyway. Elizabeth, did you see what I'm talking about? No.
I have a on the top of mine. It says Heritage Commission, January 18, 2020. That should be February.
Yes, it should.
Yes. Is there any more comments?
Yes, in that same third paragraph down on line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're talking about the planning board. The planning board is not amenable to taking on more than they already have. Pam said, to be fair, they have an awful lot to do. Pam said they could go door to door. No, not they. The planning board is not going to go door to door. We would have to do that. Us, the Heritage Commission.
Oh, Maura, welcome.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
You can unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late.
Hi there.
Hello, hello.
There's a hand raising position here on the lower right hand corner. If you want to speak, it's probably best that we stay mostly muted. And if you want to speak, go to the lower right hand corner. Or first of all, do you have the same screen that I have? The screen share button in the middle on the bottom.
Yes.
If you press that, you will see who's attending on the right-hand side.
You'll want to press the participant button, not the share.
Yeah, I can see all the participants right now.
Okay, at the bottom of that participant list, it says raise hand. If you want to speak, it's best that we stay muted, and then you can raise your hand. It'll show me, and I can make things happen.
You know, I don't see a raise hand.
Of the screen, and then on the right side, a window will pop up.
Okay, I've got it. All right, very good.
Yep.
And that first person that raises their hand will jump to the top of the list, and that will allow me to let them talk. Okay. Are there any more comments on the minutes?
Yes, I have one more. On the second page, at the end, he said there had been survey work done out where Jolly Trail was. It's Jolly Rand Trail, R-A-N-D.
Do you have that, Liz? Okay.
I had one. I'm sorry. I was reading the minutes and wait a minute. Oh, my speaker is on. I had one that you might have already said, but I wasn't listening. On line 41 on the first page, it says American Heritage Museum, and it should be American Independence Museum.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any more comments on the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes for February.
I move to accept the minutes.
There's a second? Okay, Maura seconded. All those in favor?
John, you have to do a roll call vote.
Oh, we have to do a roll call vote. Okay.
Who's clerk?
Okay. You want to start, Julie?
I have to abstain because I was not at the meeting.
Okay. Pam?
Aye.
Jay?
Aye.
Maura?
Aye.
Aye. The minutes are accepted. Okay. Then the next item on the agenda is discussion of the proposed heritage district, the Park and Cass Street Heritage District. We had some momentum on this going forward several months ago, and we've kind of like hit a wall. But I have since replaced my laptop, and it does not have a CD slot, and I cannot load my software on for my scanning. So I have materials here that I have to get to you, but I'm going to have to figure out a way to do that. But I did have some contact with Jennifer Goodman up at the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance, and Nadine Miller I talked a little bit about, and they had some suggestions. Have you had a chance to see this? This has been prepared.
Yes.
It's really a pretty nice document. There's some There's some other materials that I have. I know this is kind of a little bit kind of awkward. This is kind of like descriptions of heritage districts. Mm-hmm. Liz Hangen, who's the author of the Neighborhood Heritage, one of the authors, and Jennifer Goodman said that we may want to call this, instead of a heritage district, a heritage area. You want to talk, Julie?
Could we call it a heritage neighborhood? That's sort of how I've been presenting it when I mention it at select board meetings.
I think that would be acceptable. The comments that they received back before it sounds too much like an historic district, and it caused a lot of confusion.
Yep.
I'm going to get this material to you. There's also a very good description of what each heritage district and historic district commissions and what they are. National Register districts versus locally designated historic districts. I have a bunch of this material that I'm going to get to you, and then I'd like some thoughts of you. How do you feel we can proceed with this? I mean, I was hoping that by this time we'd be able to do some solicitation, going out and knocking on neighbors' doors again, and having some materials put together that explain what we were trying to do and try to get some public support started. We've kind of lost a few months in this process, at least 2 months in the process. I don't know. I'm open to some suggestions as to how you think that we can revitalize it.
We were thinking of going door to door saying we're thinking of having a meeting on this, and then having a big information meeting, which of course now we can't do. But I think that's the only way we can do it. We've got to invite everybody in the district. And I was really hoping that Barbara, who was happy, Rimkunis, would be happy to have it at the Historical Society, because she would be a big draw. But we can't use it, and we can't have a meeting. We can put information through people's doors and say, we're having a meeting sometime, but that's silly.
Any other comments? Maura?
Yeah, I guess I wonder, even though we can't have a meeting now, I do feel like it's worthwhile to at least reach out to people in the neighborhood and let them know that this is something that we've talked about. Do we have a budget? Could we draft a letter and send it to every homeowner in the neighborhood and say, here's something under consideration. Is this something you're interested in? Just give some contact information and then say, stay tuned or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of think we could, even if we had to physically distribute it to them, door to door like we did before. Mm-hmm. It has to be something that they can read and understand. And yes.
Well, I mean, there's also email. I know, I'm not sure if I don't know what the legalities are around emailing, but I know I have a ton of email addresses for people in the neighborhood. So if we could combine a drop-off effort with some emails.
I don't think that there's any legal issues with that. It's distributing information. I think the only thing would be we would need to post it somewhere so that everybody could get the information. So it would be a combination, like anything you want to send to your neighbor, you either use your email, or you tell somebody else to, or you send them a letter, you knock on the door. So I think as long as everybody in the neighborhood feels included, that'll work. One of the things that we can decide is how we want to make a presentation. And we could do just a door hanger like we do for sewer announcements and things like that. Telling them where to go look at this, what we want to do. Like we could prepare on our webpage some description of what this is and why we are interested for their comments and questions. And then we can do a virtual presentation on the TV.
Julie, would you mind if I add something to that?
Please do.
Just because I had mentioned it to Parks and Rec as well, because we often help with, broadcasting those public input sessions that usually would take place like in a town hall or something. But this same like webinar platform we could use if there was a way to, contact those people and, set something up, they could register. So it's just, a meeting for those residents if you guys wanted. And then, you could do a PowerPoint presentation in here to talk about it. So, and then that could also be recorded and put online for people who couldn't come to the meeting. So we'd be happy to assist with that if that's something the commission would be interested in.
Yeah,
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Jay, did you have a comment?
Yeah, thanks, Bob, for that, because I was going to voice my support for a media platform like this. I mean, I think Zoom can support, and make it convenient for a lot of people to join a discussion. And, we could use media to do the presentation. So it was good to hear from Bob and that there's a model that already exists for something like that. And so I don't think all hope is lost. We can capture or regain some of this momentum moving forward.
Bob, you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
How have the planning board and some of the other boards been handling the graphic presentations with this?
Using the share screen function. So you'll see it again at the HDC this Thursday if you want to see how it looks. But with the share screens, both the board and applicants and I guess citizens, members of the public, if the board wished, could be allowed to share their screen and show PDFs. You can share your whole screen. You can share just a PDF. You can share a PowerPoint. You can do like lots of things. And I would recommend if the board was going to do something, we could do like a dry run first, and then I could just like one-on-one with me and just to see how it works or something. But if it was a simple PowerPoint or something like that, our TV staff as well could like go through the slides for you if it was too much. So for someone in the board to do during a meeting.
Okay.
Well,
yes, Maura.
so I guess I'm wondering if, maybe we start with a draft of sort of an explanatory letter. And I like Julie's idea of like here, do a door hanger and refer people to a website so we wouldn't necessarily have to mail out the whole letter. And then from there proceed to developing a presentation.
Okay. How do we do that?
I was going to ask which comes first, door hanger or presentation, or having it ready.
I would think the door hanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the door hanger and a description on the website of what a heritage neighborhood is or could be, and give people some reference materials to look at, and then announce that there will be a presentation on whatever date you choose.
Okay.
Could I?
Go ahead, Pam.
Now, in that material which you showed, which I think is the same thing that you had at the last meeting, Maura, that shows the three types of commissions: the Heritage Commission, the Heritage Historic District, and something else. We could just copy that, just so that they know what we're thinking about. Mm-hmm. And for heaven's sakes, don't do an email. I mean, I never open an email if I don't know who it's from. And I'm sure a lot of people are just as paranoid.
Well, I think I could certainly email people I know directly in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if they don't know me, maybe they know somebody who knows me.
Okay. Yeah, but you're probably trying to sell me something. I know it.
I won't try to email you, Pam, to convince you of anything.
Yeah.
Jay, we tried to determine. We talked about the last time we did the neighborhood solicitation. We tried to identify which ones were, owner occupied and which ones were rentals. Were we able to do that effectively, or?
No, I don't think we came to any conclusion with that. And Maura, remind me if I passed the list of addresses back to you or not. I just don't remember that we came to any conclusion which were rentals and which were homeowners.
Let me check my folder and see if you gave me that list back. I feel like you did. But yeah, I don't know if we know for sure. I mean, there are places that I'm pretty sure are rentals, but it's hard to know sometimes.
I'm raising my hand.
Yes, Julie.
Did you guys, I wasn't here for the original discussion. Did you go to the tax assessor's office? Because that, you can get the list by name and by property. Actually, you can look it up on the town website. If you go to the GIS map, I think it's under the planning department. And if you you do a search for that, for Park Street, say, and it will give you the list of property owners. And I don't know that it says rental, but it'll say 2-family or, four apartments or, and then you can also look at who owns it. And if they're from out of state, you can pretty much guarantee it's a rental. So there's information like that you can get off the tax cards and the GIS maps in town.
Yeah, just a reminder, when we solicited the neighborhood the first time, it was based on a smaller district. Now it includes Locust Street and parts of Main Street that we didn't solicit before. Mm-hmm. So there's more out there now. I'd be happy to put a draft together for the door hanger and distribute it to everybody for comments and so forth, at least to get that far started.
Okay.
And then maybe we can, if we do this, can we use this Zoom venue, to be like a committee instead of holding a public meeting in order to discuss things?
Oh, let's see. Yes and no. We can have a Heritage Commission workshop where we're not making decisions on anything. We're working on a project, but that still would have to be a public meeting, and in this instance, televised, just because of where we are right now. The other option is to have subcommittees. Somebody would still have to take minutes, but you wouldn't have to be broadcast. So the answer to you, John, is yes. We still have to meet in public.
So, I mean, if I were to draft something up, can I email it to you people for review?
Well, here's the way I read the 91A law before COVID, and I can't tell you that this still applies or not because I haven't read the whole thing in particular, but in past, if we discuss something right now and decide on an action, you can go forward with that action and then bring it back to the next meeting. So I would say yes, if you take a vote that we all agree that you should work on the door hanger, then that's an action we're directing you to do, and you can do it. and then come back at the next meeting or call a special meeting so we don't have to wait a month, that kind of thing.
If we were to have a committee of 3, for instance, or multiple committees of 3 different committees, or 3 people on 2 different committees, which would be able to work together more quickly, and then bring it to the monthly meeting for the whole board to look at.
Yeah, that would be less than
the public.
Right, that would be less than a quorum. So you are free to meet, just can't vote on the finished product kind of thing. That has to come back to the whole board. But then we could break it up into who's going to present why this neighborhood, who's going to present why is this different from a historic district, and who's going to do the part of what does a heritage neighborhood mean. So we could each work on a different part, and then at a regular meeting like this, like at the next meeting, come back together and see if we can put it all together. Something like that.
Well, then, can we put together a couple committees or subcommittees to do that?
I believe so.
Okay.
Don't all volunteer at once.
Well, there's only 4 of us, so if we could have a group of 3, I mean, why don't we make a group of 4 and then we're all on it? But except Julie has no time.
There's 5 of us. Well, if you nudge me, I'll make time. This is much more nice than what I've been living through. So I'd be happy to take some time to work on this. I think just a basic outline of what topics we want to cover to flow into a PowerPoint show, or maybe we do a piece of speech at the public meeting that we can televise. Of the 3 things that I said, are there other areas that you think need to be discussed so the public understands, not in our heritage language?
Well, as far as the door hanger is concerned, we're going to have to look forward as to what they can expect more coming.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I think one of the things on the door hanger is either we can create the link to the DHR's document, the one that you were holding up from their website, that can be on the door hanger, or we can download it to our website. But either way, put a website link to this is what we're talking about. Get ready with your questions. Look forward to a public meeting. You'll hear more from us, something like that.
Okay.
John?
Who wants to be on the committee?
The door hanger committee?
The door hanger committee.
I'm happy. But Mara had something to say here.
Well, I was just going to add, I don't know if I have time to be on develop exactly what goes into the PowerPoint, but I could, once the sort of outline is set and some of the information is pulled together, I'd be happy to make the PowerPoint. Wow. Just as long as I didn't have to think up what to put in it. So I'm volunteering for that part.
For the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Tell me, I'm volunteering for you've told me what to write. I will arrange it and make it look pretty and have it presented.
That's a committee. Okay.
That's the committee.
That's a committee.
Okay, this is one of the things that we're going to have to vote on, that we've directed Maura to do this. This is just in case a cost occurs, or that there's a direction that the Heritage Commission would like to go in, and we've given the authority to this person. So,
can I make a suggestion then that Jay, Pam, and myself be the door hanger committee?
Okay.
All right. That way we can talk freely without having a quorum and bring it back to the full board for public, approval of things.
And I just like to remind people too that because we're dealing in this format, it actually is easier to meet on a special meeting rather than have to wait a month.
Yeah.
Because we can change the time of day and, whatever works for everyone. So I move to establish a subcommittee for Heritage Neighborhood Door Hanger, populating it with Jay Myers, Pamela Jedham, and John Merkel.
Second.
All in favor?
You have to take a roll call.
Oh, okay. You first, Julie.
Aye.
Pam?
Aye.
Jay?
Aye.
Maura?
Aye.
John? Aye. Okay. Now, we have to authorize Maura, who really won't be doing too much right now.
Right.
Who's going to need to have input back from what we decide on the door hanger is going to have to be made into a graphic and a presentation format. But we need to do that now, Julie, you think?
No, I don't think so. The reason I wanted that for the door hanger is because that will have a cost. Right now, as a volunteer, Maura will not be paid. And I don't know that there's going to be a cost. So right now it's just an assignment that she's volunteered to do.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else they would want to add right now relative to the Heritage District?
Jay, do you want to go?
Jay?
I was just going to volunteer to also be on the PowerPoint
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good connection.
subcommittee when that is formed. So
Good. Okay. Maury, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, just one other thing, because I sent an email out, I don't know, it was probably 3 months ago now, once we had the final copy of the report available on the website. I sent it out to whoever in the neighborhood I could think of. And a couple people responded with additional information about their house or their property that they had come across in the interim. And I didn't know if there was a way for us to kind of compile that into its own document or folder or something, just so that we kind of have that information somewhere accessible to everybody ongoing, because it may be useful as we move towards the heritage neighborhood. Right now it's sitting in my email, but I feel like I'd like everybody to have access to it.
The Historical Society does keep files on the old houses. So maybe we already have what you have, but if we don't, we'd love to have it. And we have lots of pictures and we have lots of information on that. And I'd be happy to, I mean, you don't want to listen to me talk for an hour, but I could write a couple of sentences saying that this was the original part of Exeter. This is where Mr. Wheelwright landed, and this is where his church was. And it just kind of moved down the hill. So that's why we should try to keep it.
Could we perhaps add a link on our website, the town website, that says the heritage area or the heritage district, develop what's going on, and have that posted right there where people can go to it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we have a link to the Historical Society on our webpage. Maura, if you tell me the information that you're getting, is it electronic? Is it just like an oral presentation? Somebody remembers this history, or is there documentation with it?
There's some old photos and some typed up notes of, sort of this is what we were told and things like that, about history of certain houses. So I haven't looked through it very thoroughly. I was just sort of waiting to talk to everybody to see what would make the most sense. I mean, if Pam, if you want me to email attachments or whatever was emailed to me along to you and Barbara, would that make sense? I mean, that's sort of one way to kind of keep things centralized.
Yep.
Hey, Pam, how much of that information you have on the neighborhoods and houses, et cetera, is digitized? That answers my question. So that brings me back to Maura's question: where can we store all this stuff? We are still at a place with the town administration that we still don't have a home. So where to store physical documentation and is still an unknown. I can get somebody to post things on our website, our webpage. So I don't know if we create a part of our webpage that is the storage of this kind of information. Will we get inundated? I don't know. But it would be, these days people want to see things online. And Pam, I love touching things. So don't, throw anything away.
We never throw anything away.
I know. But, we're from a different age. So we have some combination to do there. So yes, the answer to your question long-windedly is yes. There will be a place to store stuff.
Well, it can get what Maura has out there to be looked at. Yeah. Jay, you're still lit up here. I don't know if you were. No. Well, okay. I think what I will suggest that. The door hanger committee I'll send an email out to get everybody on track of where we want to go with that and start soliciting some ideas for it. And we'll start that moving. We can do that without having a public meeting. And then it's understood, Judy, that we will bring it back, to the full board and the public, for.
Yeah. I think even doing these small steps in a meeting like this is going to bring us some good attention. One of the things I'm going to do about the door hanger is get you the information about the cost, because Public Works knows what these cost and whether we can do double-sided or not.
Okay, good. I'd appreciate that. Is there anything else that we want to discuss relative to the Heritage District? Okay. The American Independence Museum. Is the event going to be going on this year, Julie?
No, it isn't. Sorry.
Who let you say that?
It's canceled.
I sit on the Board of Governors, Pam.
Oh, of course you know. Of course, you know. Okay.
So I know that it is, at this time, not definitely decided, but there will be something or things to replace it if it is canceled. So it changes the question that the Independence Museum was going to ask this body. At the time, they were interested in us helping them pay for the militia on the parkway, because that's the most expensive part of the festival. And I felt I wanted to bring the question here because I felt this was the appropriate body to, if the town's going to support a nonprofit, that the Heritage Commission was the right place to go, because that's what the museum is doing, is promoting our heritage. We have a heritage fund that every year we slide whatever budget money we don't use, we put into the heritage fund. And right now it sits at just over 5,000. And that's what the Independence Museum was asking for. I don't know that they will still be asking for it yet. So what I wanted to do is just get your feelings on whether that was an appropriate thing to do. If you saw the connection. And then the other question is, do you want to do it this year or wait? And to add a third question, if you remember on the ballot this past year was the Conservation Commission asking for $50,000 to be put into their conservation fund, and it's something you want to do annually. So we should think about that same kind of request so that we can do things like this or write our grants without having to depend on the town budget. and the timing. So I threw a lot of things at you.
Yeah. Where do we want to go with this? I mean,
I think that we have to wait on the decision to spend money because we don't know what the museum's going to have in the end and whether or not it'll need money. It's a big revenue loss for them to not have the festival. So finding a way for the town and the museum and the participants to all still have that experience, but not in a huge crowd close together, is really, it's being looked at seriously, but I don't know. I can't tell you what the funding is going to look like. So I guess my question is, in theory, if there was a request, how would you feel?
any comment? Yes, Jay.
So if there was a request, I'm in favor of supporting that request. I think the militia is a big part of the festival in terms of the atmosphere and the enjoyment and sort of bringing the history to life. So I would hate to see that be lost, and I would like to see us support that if we were requested, if need be.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pam?
Well, how much are we going to have to spend on these door hangers? Do we have to spend on anything else? Because I think the 5,000 would wipe us out, correct? Yeah, until we ask for some more money or earn some more money or whatever. Yes, it would. It would pretty much empty the bank account. Okay. The door hangers, I think we have budget money for, regular town budget money. That's what I've got to check with. Well, I would love to support the Independence Festival. I mean, that's great. And I think the last time I talked to Emma, she was talking about having small events throughout the summer. I don't know what exactly she meant. There's a lot of planning going on, a lot of ideas being thrown around. We definitely would like to do something on July 11th and or 16th, because that's when the original festival is going to happen, and that's when the declaration came. And then there's Constitution Day in September. So we're looking at things, but we have still the stay-at-home order and the spacing, and the governor hasn't given us guidelines on special events and festivals. The museum ones are so restrictive that the museum probably won't be able to open until it's lifted. Because our rooms are small at the museum, and you can only hold 20 people.
Maura, you wanted to say something?
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it makes sense for this body to support that event. I concur with everybody else's comments, but just in terms of the actual amount, obviously we don't know if it's happening this year, but if it does, or if there's some request for money this year and $5,000 would wipe us out, maybe we could commit 3 or 4 and also commit to putting something on the warrant this year where we ask voters to, let us, or, to do what the Conservation Commission did last year. And that way for future years, we'll be more prepared.
Yeah, and also, this isn't just the only thing we're going to do with the money. I think, John, do you have on the agenda the LCHIP grants?
I don't have it on the agenda.
Oh, okay, well, that's good, because there aren't any. That's one of the things that we can do with the fund that the Heritage Commission has, is go after grants and the matching.
Yeah.
Having the flexibility.
Yeah, it's too late for LCHIP, I think. I mean,
well, yeah. It's not, the deadline was Friday, but also the town manager and the board has discussed this too, has asked for the employee department heads to present a reduced budget. So one of the things that would come out of the planning and building or planning department would be at least half of the LCHIP funding, which would, because that was still under the grant matching line. it might defeat anything we wanted to do because it just wouldn't be enough money. So this year, no L-chip.
Does someone want to make a recommendation about it's the intent that the Heritage Commission would like to financially help support the Independence Museum?
I don't think we have to do that yet until there's actually a kind of application for it.
Okay. All right, but I think we're all in agreement that we would like to see something done for them, for the militia. Yeah. Okay, then I'm fine with that for now.
And I agree with Maura that we don't have to. I caution going all the way up to the full 5,000 if we do something.
Okay. I have on the agenda election of officers. I didn't know, Julie, are we supposed to be doing that now? Or are we...
Yes, it was actually the end of, oh no, this is May. Yeah, this is the first meeting in May. Yes, we have to do the election of officers. And I don't remember, do we have terms for chair and vice chair and stuff? I don't think we do.
No, I don't think we do. We do it every year. We don't.
No, I mean, do you want to be chair for every year?
Well, hold on a second. I got to turn a light on. Okay.
So the way this works, folks, is that somebody makes a nomination for an office or a slate of officers, and then we all vote on it. If those people will accept the position. For me, I cannot be chair. I think I can be vice chair, and then I can't be treasurer because that would be definitely a conflict as a selectwoman.
Well, John, how do you feel about being chairman? Are you sick of it yet?
I'd like to see it spread around a little bit. I'm still going to be here, but to have somebody else, involved with it, I would feel, fine with.
I'm looking at you, Jay.
It would look great on your resume.
I am chairing another committee in town, and so that's with the church. So I'd like to maintain a supportive role here, if it's a vice chair or something to that effect. But John, I feel you're doing a fine job, and maybe under different circumstances, I would take it. But thank you for thinking of me.
That's what I.
We're running out of people here, but I will take it for another year if that helps with the continuity of things.
Thank you, John. I would like to guesstimate or hope that when we do this heritage neighborhood presentation and discussion, then more people will see what we do and why it's good, that we'll get some volunteers to fill out the commission.
I hope so.
Then you'd have more people. We'd have more people to choose from.
Well, it's bad enough we have a vacant position as a board member. We don't have any alternates at all. So there's nothing to fall back on. And I'm out in 2021. Mm-hmm.
Maura, we just re-upped you, by the way.
I heard about that.
Well, then, what are we saying then? Maura, you're the treasurer right now, technically.
Right. Technically, I'm the treasurer. I'm happy to still call myself the treasurer, although I've never had to do anything money related. But
well, if we start rolling out money, you're going to sign the check.
Okay.
Pam, you interested?
What am I?
You interested in a position?
Not really.
That would be clerk.
Yeah, I'll be clerk.
I'll be vice chair until I know I can't.
Well, Jay said he'd be vice chair, right? I heard you say
Oh,
that.
that's right. Okay, so we got a clerk and okay, so we're all set.
Yeah. I can
Okay,
do
so
vice
Jay
chair.
is vice chair.
Yeah.
I won't let you down, Jay.
Okay, so you need a motion. We're all set with who we are. I get off lightly.
Yes.
I move to appoint John Nickel as chair of the commission, Jay Myers as vice chair of the commission, Pam Jedham as clerk of the commission, and Maura Fay as treasurer of the commission for the year.
You're a second.
Second.
Okay. Is there any more discussion?
Thank you. Thank you all.
All in favor of the slate?
No.
Julie?
Yes.
Pam?
Aye.
Jay?
Aye.
Maura?
Aye.
John? Aye. Okay. Do we have any other business that we want to discuss?
Come on down to the IOCA meeting on Thursday,
Oh,
Is that the planning board meeting?
HDC.
HDC.
It's going to be a Zoom meeting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But the drawing, as Bob had told us, the drawings can be, or will be on display. I think they're already on the website if you go under the meetings tab and you look at the HDC meeting, there's a button for packet.
Okay.
And the drawings are in there.
Yeah, they'll be doing like a PDF presentation, like a PowerPoint presenters.
And there are a couple letters to read too, so you might be interested in what they have to say before we even go to the meeting.
Has this gone through any town processes yet?
I know they're going to the planning board, but I can't tell you when. I don't remember if it's already happened or going to happen. And I don't know what services have been to visit the place or reviewed their drawings. I don't. So my answer is I don't know.
Is there an Army Corps of Engineer component relative to the river?
Well, they do want to take off that rear bump out and attach balconies. But I don't know that they're going anywhere near the water. So yes, no. So no.
It's over the water.
Right, but I don't think they're disturbing the water or river.
Oh, okay. Well, does anybody have anything else they want to add?
No, they're good.
Oh.
I move to adjourn.
Do we need to vote on this too?
Yeah.
Might as well, just to be safe.
Okay, who seconded it? Maura?
yeah.
Okay. Julie?
Aye.
Pam?
Aye.
Jay?
Aye.
Maura?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I will see that Jay, Pam, we'll get something rolling. Start
Yeah.
on the door hanger.
Okay. Very good.
I look forward to it.
And
All right.
Reggie, thank you for joining us, and thank you to the public that are watching us on Exeter TV.
All right.